And the readings will now be given by Dede from Georgia.
I will read from the Bible. 1 John. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear. Deuteronomy. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. 2 Timothy. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. Daniel. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom. And over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him. Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the king, but they could find none occasion nor fault. For as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. Then said these men, We shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God. Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king, and said thus unto him, All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains, have consulted together to establish a royal statute, and to make a firm decree, that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save of thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. Now, O king, establish the decree, and sign the writing, that it be not changed. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber towards Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day, and prayed, and gave thanks before his God, as he did aforetime. Then these men assembled, and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. Then they came near, and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree, that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, save of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, The thing is true. Then answered they and said before the king, That Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regardeth not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. Then these men assembled unto the king, and said unto the king, Know, O king, that no decree nor statute which the king establisheth may be changed. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel, and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, Thy God whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. And a stone was brought, and laid upon the mouth of the den. Then the king arose very early in the morning, and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God, whom thou servest continually, able to deliver thee from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, My God hath sent his angel, and hath shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me. Then was the king exceedingly glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. Romans. For ye have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but ye have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. I will read correlative passages from Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures and Prose Works by Mary Baker Eddy. Fear, heat, inflammation, anxiety, ignorance, error, desire, caution. The fear of disease and the love of sin are the sources of man's enslavement. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. But the Scriptures also declare, through the exalted thought of John, that perfect love casteth out fear. Nothing but the power of truth can prevent the fear of error and prove man's dominion over error. Nothing is more disheartening than to believe that there is a power opposite to God, or good, and that God endows this opposing power with strength to be used against himself, against life, health, harmony. Every law of matter or the body supposed to govern man is rendered null and void by the law of life, God. Ignorant of our God-given rights, we submit to unjust decrees, and the bias of education enforces this slavery. Be no more willing to suffer the illusion that you are sick or that some disease is developing in the system than you are to yield to a simple temptation on the ground that sin has its necessities. In infinite life and love, there is no sickness, sin, nor death. And the Scriptures declare that we live, move, and have our being in the infinite God. To fear and admit the power of disease is to paralyze mental and scientific demonstration. If your patient believes in taking cold, mentally convince him that matter cannot take cold, and that thought governs this liability. If grief causes suffering, convince the sufferer that affliction is often the source of joy, and that he should rejoice always in ever-present love. We should relieve our minds from the depressing thought that we have transgressed the material law and must of necessity pay the penalty. Let us reassure ourselves with the law of love. Every trial of our faith in God makes us stronger. The more difficult seems the material condition to be overcome by spirit, the stronger should be our faith, and the purer our love. The Apostle John says, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear. He that feareth is not made perfect in love." Here is a definite and inspired proclamation of Christian Science. If only the people would believe that good is more contagious than evil, since God is omnipresent, how much more certain would be the doctor's success and the clergyman's conversion of sinners. And if only the pulpit would encourage faith in God in this direction, and faith in mind over all other influences governing the receptivity of the body, theology would teach man as David taught. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High thy habitation, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. The confidence of mankind in contagious disease would thus become beautifully less, and in the same proportion would faith in the power of God to heal and to save mankind increase, until the whole human race would become healthier, holier, happier, and longer lived. A calm Christian state of mind is the better preventative of contagion than a drug or than any other possible sanative method. And the perfect love that casteth out fear is a sure defense.